Well, hey there, guys. I'm Axel the Beast, and this is the Curiosity Shop, the ZeldaEngine.net video mailbag where I answer your Zelda questions. Our first question comes from Dave Strider, the cool guy, who I assume is probably a pretty cool guy. I've never met him, but moving on. Okay, so he asks, what is the most memorable Zelda cutscene that you can remember? Also, what is your favorite Zelda quote? Oh man, these are like the kinds of questions where, you really give a different answer every time, or at least I would, because, it just changes your favorite. You hear a new one or see a new one, whichever the case may be, and it strikes you as your new favorite, but then you see another one or whatever, and then you reflect on it and you remember, that older one was better, things like that. So I'd give a different answer every time, and give me your guys in the comments. But for cutscene, I think I'd have to pick in the Wind Waker when you clear the Forsaken Fortress the first time, and Helm Rock King flies you up, and you see Ganon, and he's just like, and he's like, throw that kid in the water. I don't know. I just thought it was really cool because it felt really cinematic. The music was amazing. The angles and cutscene cinematography were amazing. You didn't show his face. And it made him feel new. It made him feel like, I guess he was sort of, because it's only the second game with the human Ganondorf. But it still felt fresh. You expect Ganon in a game, but this kind of made you think, who is this guy, Who is this dude, this bad dude sitting up there throwing kids into the ocean? Anyway, and as for the quote, there's so many again, and it's even harder, but I think I'd have to just bring it back to the classics. And out of all the Zelda 1 quotes, my favorite is, it's a secret to everybody, or everyone, or whichever it was. I never remember which word it is, but I just love it. It's so normal, but it's also just sort of funny sounding. I dig it, and it's so easy to use in a lot of different situations, so it's great. Black Raven 6695 asks, Nintendo has said that Link Between Worlds will have a big surprise in its opening. What do you predict it will be? Well, we don't know tons of details about the game, and some of the ones we know are big. I mean, they've given us details. They've said some stuff. It's a sequel, Link to the Past, some of the same characters, not the same length, blah, blah, blah. But, they've been vague enough, and there's still not enough, really specific details that we really don't know enough about the game to get into all this theorization about specific events, or at least with any kind of certainty. That's a long way of me saying I have no idea what this event will be. However, I do think I can say pretty safely that's not going to be that big of a surprise within the series, it'll be a cool surprise, cool moment in the game, but I don't think it's going to be something like, oh man, I'm so surprised that's in the Zelda game, it's going to be familiar in a sense. It's not going to be groundbreaking, it's just going to be a cool surprise, a cool intro or something like that. Something probably reminiscent of Link to the Past, or there's some really dynamic, interesting things going on in the story right off the bat. So, yeah, that's just me though. Evilus asks, what do you think of IG Aonuma saying that he's trying to find something completely new but still unique to Zelda for Zelda Wii U? Do you think he'll be able to come up with something, maybe with some help from Miyamoto? To be honest, I don't think it's going to be that hard. I mean, I don't want to sound offensive to the series, but, it's not that hard to think of more than what the Zelda series has done. I mean, I don't mind the series conventions and all that, but it's not hard to come up with new ideas. And as for matching it up with, what feels like Zelda, which he's indicated he wants to do, I also think that that's still not hard, because, come on, they've done it for so long. How can it be that hard to forget? How can it be that easy to forget what makes it a Zelda game? I mean, come on. So I think striking that balance isn't honestly that hard, and I have relatively high optimism that they can pull it off. I'm not too worried about it. Lineback the Fourth asks, given that Ghirahim is a one-time villain with no real foreseeable future, do you think he still has a good chance of being a character in Super Smash Bros. Brawl? Wii U, excuse me. I actually don't think there's any real chance of him, because as you said, he has no, well, I think he has a foreseeable future, maybe. Potential, projected, possible future. But I also think that in the grand scheme of the series, he's sort of irrelevant. I mean, he has some point in this timeline, storyline, whatever. But at the same time, he's like, okay, he's this one-time character. What other games has he appeared in? Every other Smash Bros. Zelda character has been in tons of games. Ganon, Zelda, Link. So, I just don't see how Ghirahim fits into that. If they do something where, there's alternate costumes for characters that are actually completely different characters, sort of like the clone thing, but not pretending they're different characters, relegated to some kind of fancy skin or costume, which I hope they do, but I have no idea. That's just completely making that up. So, if they did something like that, that would be awesome. Maybe Ghirahim could be an imperfect but still cool skin for Link or something, but no confirmation on that at all, so I don't know. I don't think he's going to be his own character. Rambler77 asks, do you think that the Majora's Mask soundtrack for the Club Nintendo Year Awards is foreshadowing a 3DS remake, or is it just a coincidence? I think it's I guess it's a coincidence, but I guess I don't see what it really coincides with. There's no guarantee that we're getting that remake. Nintendo have said that they will do it if enough fans ask for it, but they still really haven't given any concrete thing. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make this game. You know, it's still such an unknown, and they're already working on all these other projects, so I don't see how that could be something that they're already planning on just yet, anyway. And with that said, like, I just don't see what this soundtrack thing coincides with. I mean, it's a popular game. People love it. It's got great music, so they released the soundtrack as some kind of relatively easy-to-make bonus for the Club Nintendo Awards. I don't see it as anything that big. The Legend of Link 1101 asks, do you think the Lokomos and/or Malladus will return in a later game? Well, I've actually talked to them about in an article on Zelda Dungeon. I'll post a link in the description, I guess. How I think New Hyrule would make a perfect setting for Zelda Wii U, and maybe somewhat likely of one, because they've want to make a groundbreaking Zelda game in some ways, break convention, at least to break conventions, not groundbreaking. And I think that the freshness of a New Hyrule setting would actually work well with that idea. But I don't really know if that's there's any real chance of that. So, if they did do that, I think that sorry for that pause there. I think that the Lokomo would definitely reappear, or at least be referenced. Malladus, not so much, because I feel like that timeline Ganon died, but then they just started doing this villain of the week, villain of the game, villain of the era, villain of the century. You get the point. Villain of something format, where it's like a different villain every game. Maybe the different incarnations of this demise, hatred-y, mojo, whatever, or they're just unrelated villains. But it seems to be like different villains every time, so I don't really expect to smell this again. Ragadash asks, if you could choose a timeline that you want to be continued in a new Zelda game, which timeline would it be? See above. New Hyrule, adult timeline, that stuff. Aerolus asks, when do you think we'll see, and when do you want to see Ganon return? He was last seen in Twilight Princess in 2006, and I'm thinking as to whether he'll be in Zelda Wii U or Link Between Worlds. Or do you want another villain overall? In regards to the current Zelda games coming out, Link Between Worlds and Zelda Wii U, I kind of want to see new villains, because as I said, I want New Hyrule, and I don't think Ganon could really work in New Hyrule, because he died, and just be sort of a cop-out to revive him again. At least on that timeline where they wanted his death to feel permanent, and they've stated that. I think. Anyway, and in Link Between Worlds, I think it'd be cheap that he comes back and he's like, oh, I'm back and I've corrupted the Dark World again, just like I did in this game. That game, this is a sequel to. I don't know. It just seems like, again, it would be a cop out to have the same events or similar events happen with Ganon again as the cause. A new villain or a new threat would fit better there. So I don't really want to see him in one of those, in either of those. However, it has been a while since he's appeared, and it does feel like it's about time to see him again. So he's probably going to be the villain of one of those two. Whether I want that or not doesn't matter. He probably is going to be, so probably expect that, I think. I don't know which one, though. Happy Mask Mystery asks, 5 days ago I completed 2 of the 4 Zelda games I have been playing, and it has come to my attention that the Triforce of Courage does absolutely nothing. Ganon and Zelda are both Triforce wielders, and they both have powers, but Link's Triforce seems to be a dud. What are your thoughts on Link's current position? Should the Triforce of Courage give Link a special power, or do you like the way Link already is? I think the way it works is pretty good, because it's like the Triforce of Courage is something you have to prove yourself. I mean, you display courage, and your courage lets you use it. I think with Ganon, the idea of just giving him this raw power that he can just use however he pleases fits. And I think it fits with Zelda too, although I guess there's not really too many times where it's the Triforce who's necessarily gives Zelda her powers. Usually isn't she just supposed to have magic abilities? Maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but with regards to the Triforce of Courage, it actually does have a few powers. They're just less specific. Mostly, it just seems to protect Link. Like in Twilight Princess, when he goes into the Twilight Realm, he's just supposed to become a spirit who has no idea what's going on. Just like everyone else, but it turns him into the beast instead, the wolf, that he can, do stuff as a wolf instead of as a guy. So it has some powers. It seems to protect him, and it seems to be something he earns, and he just shows courage, and he uses the Triforce of Courage. It's less of a thing where he needs this power to do something with. He doesn't need any power. He proves himself worthy of being the hero, and he has the Triforce of Courage as part of that, or he gets it as a result of that, whichever the case may be. And he's just the courage guy. He's a cool guy. Otaku32, and again, this guy's awesome. He got all of the sounds and quotes and music, whatever, right last time, including the Paper Mario Sticker Star music that I usually don't count the non-Zelda music, but he even got that, so that's impressive. Otaku32 asks, do you believe that Sheik is female, or do you support the theory that Sheik is male? Personally, I believe that Sheik does try to seem male with her Sheik disguise, but her physical gender is indeed still female. Well, yeah, the thing is, in the Hyrule Historia, it does support that Sheik is a male, character. It's a persona that Zelda is putting on. And honestly, you don't even need to go that far. It's not even debatable, really. And I know I'm going to get my head bit off for saying that, but it really isn't debatable. In the game, Ruto actually refers to Sheik as male. So it's clear that the disguise is supposed to be male. Sheik, as a character, as a persona, is male. Zelda was dressing up, disguising herself as a boy. It's that simple. And there's really no room for debate on that. With regards to Zelda's gender, of course, Zelda is female. You can argue all you want about how maybe she turned herself into a boy with magic, and, I guess there's nothing really restricting that theory from being plausible, but it's really a headcanon kind of thing. It's something that feels right to you, but isn't provable within the story. Because, honestly, she just disguised herself as a boy. There's no reason to extend it past that. And, honestly, even her character design as Sheik really does look like it's just a costume, because she has wrappings around her chest that look like they're designed to disguise her breasts or whatever. So it really does feel like it's something where she's just dressing up as a male. But, if you want to say it's something else, you can. But the bottom line here is Zelda's a chick, and she pretended to be a dude. There's nothing more to say, really. Alright, guys, that's it for this time. Be sure to send your questions to the contact information in the description, and I'll see you guys later. Ben S. asks, if you were to make a Zelda game with the creator of The Legend of Zelda, and you got to choose the name, what would it be? The beanie cap of the Shady Pawn Shop. The mosquitoes will come back for you. Asks, in Twilight Princess, don't you think it was a missed opportunity that you could not use the finishing blow in the battle with Ook? Are you telling me you wanted to just shove your sword down the butt of a monkey?